Guys, there has been a development, a huge one, no, monumental, and it's that YouTubers and other small productions are now allowed to film in national parks without going through that prohibitive, crazy permit process and paying the fee that we used to have to. They did away with all that, and so now I can film in national parks again. And so here I am in the Everglades National Park with Sweetie, and it's pretty awesome to be able to film in national parks again. You know, I figured I don't get onto the east side of the country very often, let alone all the way down to Florida, but since I was already here for the solar install at Great Outdoors Solar, owned by my good friend Thomas West, you know, I figure I may not have an opportunity like this again for many years. And so, of course, you know, I want to fill up my national parks stamp book. And so here I am at the Everglades National Park. I'm staying in Long Pine Key Campground, and it's pretty nice. And the campsite I got is really nice too. I opted for, you know, no electric on site because, you know, I just got this new fancy solar system installed. And so I want to test it out. Pulling in, I was a little worried that I wasn't going to have much solar because of all of the trees, but you know, my campsite, pretty open. You know, it's pretty open to the sky, so I got a pretty good feeling about it. Thankfully, though, there is fresh drinking water here in the campground and a dump station, so I don't have to worry about either of those things. So yeah, I mean, I've got everything I need here. But for the rest of the night, Sweetie and I are just gonna relax after our full day of traveling, eat some dinner, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. For breakfast today, I'm gonna go with something nice, cool, and refreshing. It's just vanilla Greek yogurt, mangoes, you know, because tropical, right? And honey on top. Mix that all up, and oh, it is delicious. And I'll give you guys a really good tip too. If you want to make delicious fruit smoothies, just do this exact thing, but instead use frozen fruit. My favorite is frozen mangoes, so you just kind of fill it up with frozen mangoes, glob in some of that vanilla Greek yogurt, and then squirt in about a tablespoon of honey, blend all that up, and oh man, it's delicious. It's perfect. You can do it with strawberries, blueberries, doesn't matter. Mangoes are my favorite though. So to get an idea of what to show you guys today, I went to the main visitor center right at the entrance to the park, and just like all national park visitor centers, it's beautiful inside, had a lot of great information, and I spoke to a volunteer at the counter, and he gave me some recommendations on hikes to go to see wildlife. And the first of those trails is right here at the Royal Palm Visitor Center, real nearby the entrance, and the trail is called the Anhinga Trail, which I was told is the best trail to go on to see wildlife like alligators, which, you know, I definitely want to see here in the Everglades. And it's really cool here at the Royal Palm Visitor Center. When I arrived, they were doing a program for the kids. They were letting them spray fire hoses, and they were showing off a fan boat that's owned by the Park Service, and that thing was really sweet. It has a massive V8 engine on it. I wasn't expecting that. So it's pretty cool that they do that kind of stuff. But the Anhinga Trail is super easy. It's less than a mile long, and all the hikes here in the Everglades are flat because yeah, there's just not really any elevation gain here. Pretty much everything is right at about sea level. Before long, the paved trail turns into a boardwalk that extends out over the wetland area. As it curves in and out of dense vegetation, you'll have plenty of opportunities for bird watching. So if you're into that, this is the trail for you. There were tons of goofy cormorant all along this trail, and I was even able to spot a few turtles resting beneath a tree. But then, as I walked off the boardwalk, there it was. A massive alligator sunbathing right next to the water. Of course, I was overjoyed and excited to see my first alligator in person, and I was in awe of his extremely strong-looking body covered in its spines and scales. He was hanging out literally right off of the trail, and so if you're coming to the Everglades and you want to see alligators too, then definitely check out this Anhinga trail. They are all over the place. All right, well, this is super cool. This is exactly why I wanted to go on this particular trail. I've seen 3 alligators now, and yeah, this guy is beautiful. All right, that was awesome. My goal for this trail was to see alligators. That was the whole point of me wanting to go on this trail, and I saw 4 in total. Didn't get to see many Anhinga up close, which is a bummer because they're just a really cool bird. They can swim on the water, they dive down, and they spear fish and then bring those to the surface to eat them. And so that's just really cool. They're also nicknamed the snake bird because apparently how they swim through the water, they kind of look like snakes with their wings pulled back. Oh crap, there's one right there. Just caught one. Okay, yeah, I know. These are cormorant, not Anhinga. I saw a bird catching a fish and eating it just out of the corner of my eye, and I got overexcited. But it was still cool watching it devour its catch whole and telling another cormorant to back off. But as soon as I started to walk away from them, nature treated me with a blessing. An Anhinga swooped right on to the banks in front of me, opened up its wings and showed me its beauty while it dried out its wings in the wind. And it's moments like this that make these trips just that much more special. And I even got to watch him ungracefully flop into the water, start swimming around and hunting these little fish that he would pop up out of the water with already in his mouth and just devour whole. Man, it's really cool. I've been at this short, less than 1 mile hike for 2 hours now just because there was so much cool wildlife to see, but now it's on to the next hike. And that is here, the HM-69 Nike Missile Air Base, an awesome part of United States military history. So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, I know I am, definitely come here and check it out. This sign greets you right when you drive in. Yeah, use of deadly force is authorized. I don't know if this is a historical sign or if this is current, but best not to fuck around and find out while you're here. Everglades National Park houses one of the best preserved relics of the Cold War in Florida, a historic Nike Hercules missile site called Alpha Battery, or HM-69. The site remains virtually the same as it was when official use of the site ended in 1979, and construction of the site by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was completed in 1965, just after the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. At the time, the nation's air defenses were positioned to protect against a possible Soviet air attack over the North Pole, and thus this and other anti-aircraft missile sites were established to protect against a possible air attack from the south. The area includes 3 missile barns, a missile assembly building, a guard dog kennel, barracks, 2 Nike Hercules missiles, and various support elements. HM-69 was the westernmost of the Nike Hercules sites ringing Miami, and the South Florida sites were unique in operating an anti-tactical ballistic missile version of the Nike Hercules intended to intercept missiles fired from Cuba, and a portion of the district's missiles were even armed with nuclear warheads. Okay, I'm just gonna make a quick pit stop back at the campsite because, it's basically on the way to the next hike. I just wanna check on the pets. Hey, sweetie girl, were you napping, huh? Was you napping? Oh, thank you. Love you too. I just wanna make sure the pets have enough water, get myself some lunch, and put on some more sunscreen. Before we get back out there though, I want to really quickly tell you about this video sponsor, which is AVAPOW and their 6,000 amp jump starter. This lithium jump starter is really great and gives me a lot of peace of mind traveling by myself out into remote areas and, you know, all around in this national park, knowing that if the batteries on my truck were to die, then I can jumpstart my truck myself. I don't need to have another vehicle, anyone else nearby to jumpstart my truck for me. And using this jump starter is incredibly easy. First, you connect the jumper cable to the jump starter, and if the indicator light of the jumper cable is blue, then the clamp cable is in standby and ready to go. Next, connect the clamp to the car battery by connecting the red clamp cable to the positive terminal and the black clamp cable to the negative terminal. Check to see that the indicator light on the jumper cable is green, and now you're ready to start the vehicle. After jump starting the engine, just remove the battery clamp from the car battery. This AVAPOW jump starter has a USB-C input port for charging, and it also has two USB-A output ports that you can plug in your devices like your cell phone or a tablet, whatever you want to charge off of this, because this thing's battery is actually 32 amp hours in capacity, and so it's got a decent amount of charge on its own to, you know, keep your devices charged. And then it also has a standard DC output port. This AVAPOW jump starter is strong enough to even jumpstart 12-liter diesel engines. That is incredibly massive. And with the new upgraded jumper cables for 2025, it's now suitable to start any 12-volt battery, whether it's on a car, truck, boat, RV, lawnmowers, anything, it doesn't matter. And the jumper clamps are intelligent, and so when you attempt to jumpstart your vehicle, if there is something wrong going on, then the indicator light on the jumper clamps will tell you what's going on, and you can reference the user manual to see what that is. Also, if you're trying to use the jump starter at night, it does have a light on the end. You just press and hold onto the power button here on the side, and you can cycle through various, you know, different lighting options. So yeah, that's handy to have also. And it also comes with this really nice protective carrying case, just to keep the cables and the unit itself organized all in one place inside of your vehicle. And I'll go ahead and post a link in the video description below if you guys want to check out this AVAPOW jump starter for yourself. All right, let's get back out there. So the Mahogany hammocks hike was also recommended to me because it just shows a completely different side of the Everglades. And what's really cool is, you know, you start out in the sun and then you walk into the coverage of the hammock. And a hammock is just a basically island of trees on a slightly taller section of the Everglades, maybe just a few feet. So it's tall enough to, you know, not be covered in the rainwater or the, you know, the water that's constantly flowing through all of the Everglades. The shade is extremely welcome, and this is just really cool. The vegetation here is so thick and so dense. And something I find really cool are the air plants that are growing on the mahogany trees. You know, I've seen air plants before in nurseries and, you know, at people's houses and stuff, but I've never seen them out in the wild. And that just speaks to how extremely humid it is here, that those air plants can survive just off of the moisture that's in the air. And they are huge here, by far the largest air plants I've ever seen. Apparently these hammocks are extremely fragile and can just be decimated in the case of a hurricane, like in the early 90s when Hurricane Andrew came through. It apparently just obliterated so many of these hammocks. They go from these like extremely shaded, very densely vegetated places to just a mass of just destroyed wood and plants. But it is so fertile here, and these plants are all, you know, like capable of handling hurricanes, that they regrow super fast. And so, you know, it's just a part of the life cycle here. For dinner tonight, I'm cooking fish tacos. It takes a little while to make, but it's super worth it, and it's really not that difficult. Just start by heating up a little bit of oil in a skillet, chopping up some onions, but leaving them nice and long, and also chopping up a bell pepper. Throw that into the skillet, cook those up in the oil real nice until they just start to soften up. You want a little bit of a crunch. And whenever I cook a bell pepper, I always throw one to Sweetie also. She loves them, and they're really healthy for dogs. And then I use about a pound of fish. Typically I use tilapia, but I've also used pollock, and it's really good. I will cover the entire fish fillet in just a homemade seasoning. It's super similar to my ground beef seasoning. It's basically just chili powder, cumin, onion powder, salt, pepper, and smoked paprika. Fry that fish in oil as well in the skillet. Flip it over when the edges of the fish just start to crust, and then you know the fish is ready when it separates really easy and is nice and flaky. And then I put the veggies, the fish, some shredded cheese, salsa, and of course some sour cream onto tortillas, and it's ready to eat. All right, I am super excited to eat these fish tacos, man. I love this meal. It's so delicious, and making an entire onion, a bell pepper, and a pound of fish leaves behind a ton of leftovers. So I get to eat this for dinner for, you know, the next few days. I don't have to worry about cooking, and that's really nice. Oh man, it just smells so good. Wow, that was well worth the wait of cooking that up. But all right, guys, I'm gonna devour the rest of this and then go to bed, get some sleep for tomorrow. I'm super excited. We're gonna hit the water. It's another beautiful morning here in the Everglades in Florida, except for the humidity. Man, it is so humid here that when I wake up in the morning, I just feel like I'm drenched. And if you look outside, it looks like it rained overnight, but it didn't. That's just how much dew has settled on everything outside. But I got up nice and early this morning because I had to drive across to the other side of the park. Flamingo is what this area is called, and there is a beautiful visitor center here. It's super cool inside. It's called the Guy Bradley Visitor Center, and the story behind that is pretty crazy. Guy Bradley was the game warden of this area back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, but he was killed while on duty by a poacher. He left behind his wife and 2 children who thankfully were taken care of by a fund set up for them in Guy Bradley's honor. And yeah, so that's who the visitor center is named after. But yeah, I wanted to get out here nice and early to beat the heat because check out what we're taking out on the water today. Oh wait, no, we're taking one of these out. I got them mixed up. I don't think they'd let me take that other boat out for $40. Wow, this is super beautiful. I'm really happy I decided to do this. I'm on my way to Snake Bite because that's where the park ranger in the Guy Bradley Visitor Center told me the best viewing for birds are. She said there might even be flamingo there, so hoping I get to see some of those. But yeah, I'm really surprised it's, you know, not as hot as I thought it would be because the sun is just beating down on me, and I'm wearing all of these layers to protect from the sun. But you know, just the constant breeze over the water is keeping me really cool, despite the fact that I'm paddling non-stop and actually getting quite a workout and really feel it in my back. This is really good. I'm really enjoying this. Well guys, I'm about 2 hours into my 4-hour rental, and so I gotta turn around and head back, which is a bummer because I never really got to the spot where all the birds are. You can kind of see them behind me there. They're still really far away, and honestly am about as close as I can get to them anyway. The water gets really shallow right here, and it looks like it just gets shallower and shallower all the way to the little island that they're all standing on. So yeah, it's a bummer, but you know, this was still a lot of fun, and yeah, it's definitely a decent workout. What's cool is there are other places that you can rent canoes. There's 9 Mile Pond and Hell's Bay canoe trails, but the park ranger at the visitor center here at Flamingo advised against that for a first timer, because believe it or not, this is the first time I've ever been on a kayak. I've been in a canoe before, but when I was really young, and so I don't really count that either. You know, she said that it's really easy to get lost, especially on Hell's Bay, because you're just going through like deep vegetation. It's not really a marked trail. You got to follow a map and stuff. And so I decided to do this wide open Florida Bay for my, you know, first kayak experience. What's really cool and pretty unique about the Everglades as far as national parks go is that you're actually able to collect downed firewood as long as it's dead and completely on the ground. You can't break it at all, but you can just pick it up from the ground. And you can collect that firewood anywhere in the entire park. This is the first national park I've been to that you've been allowed to collect anything from the national park itself. And I wanted to relax by the campfire tonight, so on my way home from kayaking, I just stopped at various places and found wood. It was super easy. I had all the wood I needed in like 5, maybe 10 minutes. It's just everywhere, and that's probably why they let you collect it, because it's just so lush here. Everything regrows so quickly. But I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and it gave you some idea of what the Everglades is like. I know I really enjoyed my visit here. I have 2 more nights here, tomorrow, and then I leave the following day. But tomorrow I'm going to be heading out to the Keys, down, going the whole way from Key Largo to Key West. So if you want to see me adventure through the Keys, then keep an eye out for that video also. But if you enjoyed the video and you want to buy me a beer, then you can go through the link in the video description below, or you can check out this QR code right there and it'll take you to a spot where you can buy me a beer. But Sweetie and I are just going to hang out by the fire and enjoy this beautiful night. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Sweetie girl, say bye. Oh. Good girl. Come here. Good girl.